university women. Nearly 50% of 7th through 12th graders were sexually harassed within the last year. More than half of those victims were girls, about 40% of them boys, and nearly all said this resulted in absenteeism, poor sleep, and stomach aches.
One of the authors of this study says sexual harassment is pervasive and almost a normal part of the school day. Also, boys are more likely to be the ones doing the harassing. 44% of the students surveyed said they were harassed in person. 30% said they were harassed online.
The most common form, unwelcome sexual comments, gestures, or jokes. A small percentage of girls and boys reported being touched in an unwelcome way, and nearly 20% reported being called gay or lesbian in a negative way.
So how surprised are you by these findings? I mean, think back to what you experienced in middle school and high school and compare that to what kids are dealing with today.
And Jim, your reaction to this, those numbers are high.
Oh, it's terrible. I have a daughter who's a junior in high school. This kind of stuff just scares me to death. It really does. And I think this is it's a symptom of what we've been doing to our children and with our children for years, which is sexualizing them. It's more pervasive in our society. I'm all for First Amendment rights, and I think, you just need to keep an eye on what your kids are doing, because if they're exposed to this kind of stuff, this is what it leads to.
And this is happening to both boys and girls. Granted, girls are more likely to be victims. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, I was subjected to, the cat calls, uncomfortable comments and whatnot. But, I have a daughter who is a senior, and watching what she's gone through, I can say it does seem to be a lot worse nowadays.
What's even worse beyond that is that it's teachers. A lot of the problems now that these kids are reporting are coming from teachers making the sexual advances, and that's when you get into criminal activity. I mean, you hear the saying, boys will be boys, kids will be kids. Well, you've got teachers crossing that line.
Well, and it's weird because we have almost a double standard now. If a female teacher is an aggressor towards a male student, you'll hear these kind of funny little comments from guys. Oh, where was that teacher when I was growing up, and that kind of junk. My wife's a teacher, and it's so unprofessional beyond just being. These are obviously sick people.
Right. And even in the court of law in Florida, the teacher who, according to her attorney, she was too pretty for jail. We all remember this teacher. And you are absolutely right. If it was a male teacher in court, the comments were very different. The male teachers who were possibly being alleged of this kind of crime, put that guy in jail, lock him up. But the female teachers, it's like the little shrugging of the shoulder. Hey, good, to the students.
Well, I have a friend who actually experienced this as a young boy. He was preyed upon by a woman, and he has all sorts of problems to deal with. I mean, I can't even imagine. And it's, but people wink and nod. Oh, it's funny when it's a woman on a guy.
Either way, it's not funny. It's very serious, and so many of our viewers are chiming in on this. Laura Elam writes, it's not surprising. When I was in high school, we were harassed by teachers. It was in the 90s.
Melissa Williams writes, kids are not learning about consequences for actions. They are being taught, if it feels good to you, then do it.
Bradley Sisko chimes in saying, this is the result of bad parenting. Respect must be taught at home.
And Linda Marconi Francis, very good point here, Linda. She says, glad it's out in the open today because you can't fix a problem unless you shine a light on it.
And she